Welcome back to episode 18. Yeah, 18. That's it.
That's what it says in the thing.
That's what it says in the thing. Yeah,
Take your
18
word for it.
Cosmere Reads. Yeah. Moving right along, finishing up part 1 of the Well of Ascension today. So excited to get that. Evening Pythos. Do we have the Drink Wars back on tonight? I don't know. Do we?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. What do we got?
So I have a peach lemon tequila whiskey smash.
Ooh, nice. That sounds fancy.
Actually, the tequila and the tequila is a floater, by the way. It's just to accentuate.
Okay. Yeah. And Pythos says yes, we do. So I guess he has something going on. I am drinking red wine.
Nice. Wait. Now, what would be fancy is if that bottle actually said the word red on it.
It does say red on it. It's a Bogle, Bogle family. It's Essential Red, 2019 California wine. It's just
nice.
Let's see. I have Sleeping with Sirens, coconut rum, parfait, amore, pineapple. Amore.
Okay, parfait amore. Okay, you don't hear about parfait amore much now. I like that.
Okay.
I like it. I love the eccentric stuff.
Yeah, it continues.
Yeah.
A lot of announcements going on. Last week we did not record because I was on vacation. So I was at the Lake Anna in Virginia with the kiddos and a bunch of other families too. It was a good time. Glad to be back though and in the swing of things. And actually got an episode finally out. So we're back to the release schedule. Hopefully keep that going now that I've kind of gotten past this job transition, vacation rut thing that I was in and back to normal podcasting life. With that being said, the podcast is going to be extremely busy, or at least the channel is, for the next few months because we got a bunch of stuff coming up. I mean, tomorrow night we're recording the Will Reads, the Wheel of Time podcast. That's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. on this channel. And if you're listening to the podcast, it was last week because I usually put these out later or however many long ago it was. Also in November, we are gearing up for our 3rd annual Twitter of Time Awards. It's a Wheel of Time thing again. I know we're talking Cosmere tonight, but I still have to talk about things for the channel. We do this every single year. Twitter of Time is a community on Twitter, or X now, I guess. I don't know what they're calling it these days, but we still call ourselves Twitter of Time. And,
X going to give it to you.
Yeah, X going to give it to you. Yeah. So we do this every single year where we do like basically an Oscar-style award show for people that play different characters online, and it's a lot of fun. And it's just good time for us to goof off and have fun. A bunch of content creators, and I host it, but a bunch of us put a lot of time and effort into this. So we're a little behind the 8 ball on getting it going, but it will be the first weekend in November. So that's coming fast, like faster than I thought because it's September already.
I've watched 2 of them, so. They were really fun. Very fun. Yeah.
A Wad of Fortune is coming back for its championship round on September 15th. That's a Friday night at 10 p.m. There were 3 finalist contestants battling out for the championship. So that's exciting. And in the biggest news probably to drop this week, besides a new TV show for the Wheel of Time, Jordan Con announced that tickets go on sale this Saturday, the 9th, for Jordan Con. I plan on being there. I know Ian and Chris from the Will Reads are. I know Will and Alonda have talked about it. You guys are more than happy to be there as well. I would love for you guys to be there.
Oh, when is it, by the way?
It is April 19th through 21st.
Okay, I don't know why I keep thinking May, but okay.
Yeah, April 19th through 21st in Hotlanta, Georgia.
Hotlanta, Georgia. There you go.
Hotlanta, Georgia. It's at a really nice hotel, actually. It's cool. It's an IHG property.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. The perimeter in Atlanta is what's called. I guess it's what is it? It's not the Ramada. Someone's gonna Ravina Perimeter of Atlanta. I can't remember the name of it doesn't matter. It's a nice hotel. A really, really nice con area. It's really big conference and lots of fun. So plan on going again for our 3rd time. No panels have been announced or anything yet, so. But I'm sure we will be involved with some of them in one way or another. So looking forward to that. Going to secure my ticket probably this Saturday. And if you guys need tickets, I can get those too. So just let me know. And as far as patrons, no new patrons. There's a giveaway going on right now, but by the time this comes out on the podcast for, it'll be over. It's on our Discord. So if you go under announcements on our Discord server, there's a giveaway for a free Cosmere book. No, you guys are not eligible. Sorry, Will. Sorry.
Oh, boo. Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. If you say fixed, if you'll let you guys win. No, it's not the Hyatt or Marriott. It's
Boo earns.
now it's gonna Crown Plaza. Sorry, it's Crown Plaza.
Okay.
Jordan Con. Yeah, that's I saw the comment there. Crown Plaza.
Good.
But yeah, so book giveaway going on Discord right now. So if you watch the video on YouTube before the podcast comes out, you can still get in on the giveaway. Otherwise, wait till next time. We'll be doing another giveaway sometime soon. We do it from time to time.
Hey, who won the last giveaway, by the way? Did we announce that?
Who won it? That's a good question. Let me see if I wrote it down.
Okay.
Jake.
From State Farm?
Jake from State Farm. Jake's actually one of my mods. He won it, and it was a giveaway
Nice.
on Twitter, I think it was, for merch. And
Well, congratulations, Jake.
He
Yeah,
wanted to hold
congrats.
off on getting merch until we have Skull Snake shirts. So he wants one of those.
Ooh.
So once we get those up, he wants one of those. So
Nice.
we're still finalizing design there and getting everything done. But yeah, so
Very good.
Jake won the last one. So we'll see who wins this one. There's a lot of people already entered in for
Cool.
this one, like 42 people or something like that. I don't know. It's good amount.
Nice.
So yeah, see if people win a free book. Yeah. And then also another news, Will is not at his normal location. He's actually semi in town. He'll be in town with Alondo and I later this week. So we're all going to do a real life hangout, hopefully. So, woo.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Back
first
in my
time.
native land.
Yeah. Back for first time Cosmere reads in real life all together.
That's
hangout.
right. IRL. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that should be fun. We'll have more to report on that next time, hopefully. So, anyways, anything else you guys want to kind of cover before we jump right into this episode?
I was going to ask about the bingo card. We still doing that?
Oh,
Yeah. Good question.
Will,
man,
yes.
Will.
I don't have
You got to
that.
let me know, not live. But yes.
I literally just thought about it.
Because I've been writing notes as I'm like,
Let's see.
writing notes and stuff like this should qualify for the bingo card.
Someone actually brought it up the other day about it. Let's see. Episode talk. Here we go. Bingo card. Got it right here pulled up. So going through it, a dueling pimp king is mentioned. I'm pretty sure you guys mentioned.
Yeah. Yes.
It's right there.
One of
Sazed being in Munich is mentioned. It's not. He has not mentioned being in Munich this time.
Okay.
Someone jumps off a building. Well, that happens every episode.
Yeah.
Vin comes up with the plan.
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
Internet drops midstream. I don't think it's happened yet. It's getting close.
I think I put one in there was a mist swirling around an Alamancer or a misting.
You did.
That has happened. That has definitely happened.
That's happened. But I'm trying to get it in a row. So a Mist Wraith pops out of nowhere. Nope, hasn't happened.
No.
Inquisitor pops up like the Spence Inquisition.
I forgot I wrote that.
Someone thinks Vin is older than she is. They think she's younger. I don't think.
Nobody's done that. Nah.
Another metal's discovered. That's happened, but that doesn't make anything happen. I don't think we've hit bingo yet.
Oh man, that's a shame. I thought we were getting close.
No, I mean there's a couple. Yeah, you're close on a few, but not. Yeah, I mean because Kel referred to as Didi. Yep, that's happened.
Yeah, I think that one happened a few episodes ago. So yeah, that one definitely already happened.
So Alondo mentions. So Kel. Okay, this could be one. Alondo mentions a bag of antlers, free space, a Ska's afraid of the mist, and internet drops midstream. So I think you just need the internet to drop, and you can win bingo.
That's a bad reason to get bingo.
Yeah, I think that. So yeah, we're close. I'll have it pulled up next time, as long as I remember. I'm not going to promise anything, but I'll have it pulled up next time, so I can put it up on the screen and kind of like check off where we are and how close we are to bingo. So anyway,
good.
Without further ado, let's jump right into chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, chapter 7. we got a lot of chapters to cover tonight, but they're short chapters, a lot of them. So we'll kind of bounce through them real fast.
Really short in one instance.
So yeah,
Jeez.
some of them. Yeah, this one, chapter 7, super short. Sazed's teaching. That's how it starts. Where it's Sazed's point of view. And he's teaching inside this little, like, I guess, and they're using like the ground or a single piece of chalk for the entire village. So he says, and they're using, like, I guess, farm tools to kind of like draw on the ground and like do different things. He's trying to teach about religion and teach about history, and the students are diligent and scribbling. But I guess the main thing is, like I said, it's not a long chapter, but the main thing that happens is halfway through his lesson, someone comes in and says, Master says that we were wrong. The Lord Ruler's back.
Yeah, the crazy lady comes in.
Yeah.
She seems like she's a crazy cat lady. Just comes in and just spouting nonsense. By the way, I like the idea of a Professor Zaysid, right? I mean, I can just see that. That's a good look for him. So
yeah, and he's teaching a lot of stuff, about governing medicine, farming practices, just things that they'll need,
right?
And then of course someone comes in.
He has the most reluctant student class of all time. They do not want to be there, but he's like, you need to be here. You need to learn about your roots. You need to learn about the stuff. And they're like, fine.
You can picture Sazed just up there going, Bueller. Bueller.
It was VOOD blank. The economics, the voodoo economics, and he's like, whatever. Eyes glazed over.
Whatever. Don't care. Yeah. But you got to think about, it's a population that's never had education, so this is new, and no one's really happy. And it's not necessarily being forced upon them, but it's being highly suggested.
Again, we go back to history. The best way to keep a class subjugated is to deny them education. So now when you're in a situation where you have access to education, it just seems completely foreign to you, the concept of learning something, right? So if you have the subjugated class and all of a sudden you're like, you have to learn stuff, it's like, why?
Why? We made it this far without learning anything. Why did we learn something now?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Sazed is trying to make the world a better place, and that's what Sazed does.
Will you get me to say something?
He also has this moment of introspect, though, where he's like, man, I remember when I was working with Kel and team, and I felt more like a rebel, and got a little more of a rise. Now I'm trying to teach these kids, and they don't want to pay attention. He's like, is this really what I want to do?
Yeah. Self-doubt.
Yeah, he's questioning kind of where he is and if he wants to keep doing that, which goes back to when Kel, there was a clip in the last book where Kel's says that the time will come when you're no longer absorbing knowledge, but you're now teaching it, and now he's in that teaching phase. I just thought that was kind of interesting, because you guys know I love Sazed, but he's kind of man, this he talks about how much darker the ash is out there, and how it's just it's kind of a bleak environment, and he's out there trying to like you said, Alonzo, do the right thing, but it's tough because they've been under so much misinformation. That's not the right word, but you know what I'm trying to say. Just lack of information, that they don't even know how to learn.
Right. The concept is foreign to them. They don't get it. They don't understand why it's important. And this guy has thousands of books in his head. Right. And he can regurgitate that information. There you go.
Yeah. I'm curious where it's going to go. These chapters with Sazed are so short. I'm like, what's going on here?
So you picked up on that too. I was like, why is every Sazed chapter short?
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes. Foreshadowing of some sort.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, there's a pattern here. What's going on?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I like it, but it is what it is.
Well, same thinking. I was like, are they trying to say something until they get cut short?
No. We'll see. Rofo.
Well, so So Master Tearsman, he's come back. He's come back for us. Who? The man who died in the mist? Sazed said. He goes, no, the Lord Ruler. And then we cut to Sazed outside, and Sazed walks to the edge of the village. And who is it?
the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah,
Bingo.
It is a Steel Inquisitor.
that's right.
Yeah, just not any Steel Inquisitor. It's our boy Marsh. So,
Oh, and all I thought the whole time was it really emphasizes how little the masses know about the Lord Ruler or Inquisitors that they could actually misconstrue one
sure.
for the other. They have
Well,
no clue.
They're
what's
so
going-
rare
You see a
outside
guy
of
with
Luthadel.
spikes through his eyes. You think it's the Lord Ruler? I'm like,
Well, this
I
is also
mean-
the country, and they never seen the Lord Ruler, and they've
Right.
never seen Inquisitor probably because like most of them are in Luthadel, not
Right.
out in the countryside. So
right.
it would be very
So it's this mystique. It's just like this veil of mystique there, and they don't understand. Like it's like, oh well, what's this thing and what's that thing and whatever. They're like, oh, it's just there's a crazy person out here that looks weird. Probably the Lord Ruler. Kind of got a little swagger to him.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I've had the privilege of my life of and I say privilege because it was a privilege to visit, like tribal people that that where they see things they'd never seen before, and it's almost like they associate with magic kind of thing. It's very much taken aback. I remember at one Indonesian village on one little tiny small island, we stopped there and we gave some of the divers like just diver masks that they could use, and they were literally freaked out by them.
Oh wow!
Because I mean, they never put diving mask on. You can
Exposed.
see like just completely freaked out by the diving mask. They didn't like them. They didn't want to wear them. They were like some kind of like weird.
I mean, they're like, have you tried diving without it? That's what we've been doing all the
That's
time.
what we're doing
so,
for thousands of years. We're good.
Yep, they're using that diving mask as a bedpan right now.
Yeah, probably. We gave them one as a gift because we didn't have any money. Like, well, yeah, we didn't have any money to give them, and I don't think they even took like currency because they were. They had loincloths, dugout canoes, that kind of thing.
Right.
But we got our anchor chain wrapped around a coral head. Just the tides changed and wrapped around, and one of the guys dove down to the bottom, like just like He-Man, and just like
it was nothing.
Like it was nothing, just muscle the chain right off of the coral head, and like we're like we got to repay him somehow. And like here's a dive mask, and they're like freaked out by it. We're like, I don't know what else to give you. Like we got an extra one. Anyway,
of course, he had a sign. He was holding up a sign the whole time that says, "We'll take back rubs." I don't know if you saw that.
I missed it. Yeah. They wanted to give us a kid. They did want to do that.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah, that was rough.
Whoa.
They wanted to give us a kid because they wanted him to have a life outside the island.
Oh, no.
And I was like, we can't take a kid with us. No, we can't.
Oh.
Holy cow.
I think the Indonesian authorities would have lots of questions when we stop on the next island. We hadn't checked into customs yet, and that was the next island we're going to that had customs because this was tribal, so they didn't have like government buildings.
That's rough. Oh my gosh.
So,
I mean,
we had to decline respectively.
That's depressing. That's depressing. Willing to like sever ties with your own child. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, the family was trying to give him away for a better life.
Wow.
That is, it was.
Wow.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So on that low note, Marsh shows up and he's looking really down and depressed as well. At least he's looking different. Not necessarily depressed. He's just a lot harder. Like his humanity is slipping. It seems, and that's what I gathered my first read at least. He's so he's just comments he's off. Like it just doesn't seem right. And Marsh is trying to get him to come with them. Like, yeah, we need to go check out with the rest of the Steel Inquisitors. Like, what do you mean the rest of them? Because, like, yeah, we have to go back to the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Like, are you with them? Like what are you doing, Marsh?
Because at the beginning, Marsh seemed like he was like, the friendly Inquisitor, like the Mr. Rogers of Inquisitors. He was like the nice guy. He's like, I got these spikes in my eyes, but hey, I'm still good. Now he's getting just a little bit more distant. And a little bit more off-putting, and his phraseology is like actually becoming much more succinct.
And he
so
says like, in case my brethren,
matter of factly,
like, and when he says in case my brethren discover us, and he's like, and seizing the thing says, brethren, like you're calling them.
Are you aligning more and more with them?
With them, like what's going on here?
What's up, man? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's rough all around.
Yeah. Yeah, everything about him just seemed like I saw you described him as dangerous. But then he kind of talks himself out of it. So don't be foolish. Marsh is Kelsey's brother. He's fine. Marsh kind of orders him, go get your things. And he says, well, I got to tell everybody I'm leaving. And that's kind of how we end this chapter.
And and by the way, and he just stands there. He's like, okay. He just stands there, just like,
Yeah.
Like he's just going to sit there, just like stoically, just sitting there until.
And what do you think about the reason Marsh gives? I mean, it says obviously the bread thing, but he also says, hey, the Mister are coming during the day. We need to do something about this. Like that's why you have to come.
Yeah, but he's also being very aloof about this whole what was it, the stronghold or whatever they're trying to go check out.
It is the Conventicle of Saren.
Right. And so he's being very aloof about exactly what's going on there and what have you. It's almost like he's being purposefully just vague.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just sounds kind of just sus all around. So
yeah,
let's see what happens.
I wrote down zombie, and because it's like he's like on a mission, right? He's clearly got an intent to do something, but he's less humane about it. He's just like, this is what we got to do, and this is where we're at. Are you coming or not?
Yeah.
He's definitely not the same Marsh Inquisitor. He's now more Inquisitor than he is Marsh.
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, they took down the Lord Ruler. What's happening? Because there's still a presence of these, Lord Ruler minions around, but there's no more Lord Ruler. So it's almost like, are they kind of forming their own or sustaining their own force on the background, right? And trying to regain power. I'm sure they are.
Well, I mean, it's a great point because, I mean, they've already talked about the fact that the obligators are still staying together. It's still like a leadership entity.
Mm-hmm.
These Inquisitors are still out there. And like Marsh is talking about, they're still brethren. So regardless of who they serve, they still are in the same like cadre. And so you got to wonder, it's like, well, what are their intentions? I mean, I'm talking about individually, these individual collectives. Like, what are the obligators' intentions? What is the Inquisitors' intentions? We don't know yet. But we're also not privy to that information because stuff is happening off scene. And then all of a sudden, like, Marsh comes in and he's like, we need to do the thing. And I'm like, is it a trap? I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't know what these groups' purposes are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, anything from this? I mean, very short. I mean, literally, it's like 2 pages long, like chapter before we move to Vin, which is for a lot longer of a chapter.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, anything you got, Will? Or are you good?
No, I'm good.
All right. Chapter 8. So Vin's going through the street, has her puppy, Orseer, tagging along as she's trying to fly around and half lose him, try to play games, make sure he can keep up, and still doing her normal thing, testing him out. And as she's going around, she gets to a certain spot, and she's, I guess drops a coin off the side of the wall, and Osir's there, and she's like, hey, you move quick, It's like, oh, you're just moving around the palace grounds. I figured that's where you're going, so I just guessed. And it's also the wolfhound body's a lot faster, than the human one. He's like, I suppose. Yeah. Osir's not happy about this dog thing, but at the same time, he's seen some benefits from it.
He's getting there, though. He's coming on board slowly but surely. Yeah.
He doesn't say this body though. He's like, these bones you gave me.
Right. Yeah. He says these bones. Yeah.
These bones you gave me. These are some nice bones.
Yeah. Look at the bones.
Look at the bones. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the third Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference I've made this week.
There you go.
Sorry.
Here's to many more. So
it's a great reference.
It always is. Always is. So it holds up. It's one of those rare movies from the 70s. Like a lot of British comedy from that time does not hold up at all.
I
Does
showed it
not
to my
hold up.
sons a couple years
It
ago.
still
I hate to
holds
keep
up.
I keep having these segues, but Lord have
That's fine.
mercy. I showed my sons that movie. They laughed their heads off, and they were like in that like teenage range where it's like they don't want to spend time with you. We watched that movie. They were glued to the television and laughed their
great.
butts off.
It holds
awesome.
up.
I
It
love
holds
that.
up.
up.
Monty Python's holds up. It's great. Anyway. I mean, still 70s, right? Like
76, I think it was when it came
76,
out.
yeah.
Something like that.
Really?
yeah.
It's
It's
oh yeah,
old.
it's got age. It's got age.
It's got age.
That was way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Oh, way ahead. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, so she decides to go into the city with Peter. Vin takes off running into the streets. Osier keeps pace for a little bit. Vin thinks it's impressive. Just kind of moving through all this until she finally gets to a point where I guess they stop and they have a quick conversation. So let's start there. Yeah. Osier K9 form thumped on the rooftop short distance. Vin frowned. How did you get up here? And that's when they talk about, the chase and everything like that, and also a little more about the contract, because they're talking about fighting. Why are you even following me? It's like, well, my contract's to protect you. He's like, but you can't kill people. And he's like, but there's other ways I can help you.
He's like, I can go get help.
And all she can think about is he ate Kelsey here. Like,
well,
she's still like this grudge, this tension.
but she's saying that as a way to not have any type of emotion towards him in a favorable way. She has to remind herself of that just to basically be. It's almost like meeting a bully like years later, and they're like a nice person, and you're like, yeah, but you did give that little kid a wedgie back in the day. You got to remind yourself. It's like I can't get fooled into what you are now. I got to remember how much of a jerk you were then. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she spots the Watcher.
Yeah, this whole Watcher thing is just weird. The whole interaction and
Yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on all this. This is interesting. Yeah, so they do this little cat and mouse game, and then she finds out what Duralium does accidentally.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I had notes on notes here. All right. First of all, you don't know what it does. I get that. All right. Why let's just call it the heat of battle. Why then would you try to burn something that you do not know what it does? That's like going out and being like, hey, I found this rocket launcher. Now I don't know how it works.
Well, let's start hitting buttons and see
let's just go ahead and see what happens. Boom, and it's like it just goes off and you don't know what it does and like blows up a village. And you're like, oh man, that's my bad. I didn't know how far the rocket was gonna go, how it was gonna land, blah blah blah. That's the way it was with her. And when she does that, I'm like, what if this metal was its sole purpose was to melt your skull?
I mean, it kind of does with 10.
You see what I'm saying, though? I mean, and she got lucky that she was not burning the wrong metal at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Phew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it uses all the metal you're burning all at once and uses
All
it
at
all
once.
in one gigantic blast,
Boom. Yeah.
which is pretty cool, but also terrifying.
Yeah.
Because of the implications on what you can do. Imagine pushing or punching someone and burning Peter and then doing that at the same time. Like you would just, I mean, like nuclear bomb goes off. Like, they
Right.
do like the things like the videos, like if a needle speed of light hit the earth would be like the size of a nuclear bomb. Like, yeah, your fist in the face would just disintegrate.
Right.
Um,
You basically turn into atoms at that point in time.
yeah.
Boom, atoms.
What was the quote I heard? It goes from biology to physics.
Oh yeah. See,
You turn from biology to physics. Like someone used that when they're explaining when the Titan submarine imploded. When they said they're going to go down and look for human remains or whatever. It's like at that point it goes from biology to physics.
Biology to physics. That's right.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about molecular breakdown.
Yeah, you're going to find biology down there. You're going to find physics down there.
That's right.
Gross way of putting it, but that's what happens.
It is true. That is very true.
Yeah. So anyway, so she does that, gets extremely pained because of all the 10. And the Watcher then comes down because, it's almost like he's kind of worried about what just happened. And then whispers, to him, like, so only he, knowing that only he could hear if he had 10 on, like maybe I just did that to make you lure you in or whatever. He's, takes a step back and, and they have this little brief conversation where he asks a lot of weird questions and she gives a lot of answers and he doesn't necessarily like the answers and then takes off. So what do you, he introduces himself as an enemy. He says that.
He says it, but I don't know.
He says he's crazy, but Vin points out, I've seen crazy.
I've seen crazy. I've seen crazy. And you, sir, you are not crazy.
I was born in the streets. I've seen crazy.
That's right. She's like talking about, I've seen some crazy ska. Hey, you ain't crazy.
You ain't crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts about all this?
I'm gonna let Will talk because I got notes.
We should go with your notes. Honestly, like I don't know what to make of it at this point. It seems like he's like a lone wolf. Like we don't know who he's if he's with anyone or what. So it's kind of strange. It's like not enough information for me to like make any conjecture. But I guess there's like a weird dance between him and Vin because she even admits like he's pretty good. Like he's pretty good at what he does, and they're a good match. So, but the fact that like they got into that fight kind of came to a ending that was not anything significant. I don't know. It's a weird character. I don't really know what to make of it. Like maybe he's a spy for one of the armies that's hanging out outside the walls.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, there's some things that I guess that are set. He asks. Well, the first question he asks is like, "Did you really kill him?" And she knows immediately. She thought, "What really?" It's like, "Yeah, I did." It's like, "Why do you hang out with these guys and play their games?" Like, and she's like, "They're my friends." He's like, "Wrong answer."
Yeah.
So what do your notes say, Alonda? What are your thoughts?
All right. So first of all, this whole chasing thing, all I could think of the whole time was Dark Knight. That line where the Joker is like, do I really like a guy that has a plan? He's like, I'm like a dog chasing cars. What would I do if I actually caught one? He's like, I don't know what to do. That was Vin chasing this dude. I was like, lady, what is your end goal here? You follow this Watcher dude. Let's say you chase him down the freaking like alleyways and blah, blah, blah. And then you got him cornered or trapped. Then what are you going to do? You're going to kill him for what? He didn't do anything. He did nothing to you other than help you in a previous situation. So I was like, what's your end goal here? So that was like really, I was like, come on, this makes no sense. Then burning the metal, it's like, hey, I got this random metal in my pocket. Let me just go ahead and just see what happens. I'm like, no, you don't do that. This lady has not been up against a lot of Mistborn, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, she's been up against a few.
She's been lucky too.
Very lucky. And she still considers Kelsier the strongest one she's ever gone up against. And that was just sparring. I'm like, and this guy is on another level because she see what he can do. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what was your end goal here? You put yourself, which obviously puts the entire kingdom at risk. I was like, no. The whole time I was shaking my head, like, no, don't. I'm like, and I keep reminding myself, she's a young girl. She's, barely an adult, we'll say. Mm-hmm. And so, she's going to do some risky things. But Lord, I thought Kelsier was Cavalier. This is Cavalier. All right. Yeah, this was hard for me to read. I'm like sitting there just the whole time shaking my head like, no, don't, no. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then wondering if this, sorry, Alan, if this Watcher is part of a bigger organization or a bigger group of Mistborns that maybe fly under the radar. Maybe he's coming in to say like,
There you
we
go.
heard about you. What's your deal? And he's
Right.
like, oh, you still hang out with these buffoons? Like,
Mhm.
you're not one of us.
Right.
So maybe I don't know. I look forward to learning more about this dude. But
Yeah.
Because what if it had been a trap the whole time? What if this guy had showed up this last time and was leading her into a trap situation? Because she said, based on the fact he got up into that room, and he jumped off or whatever, got up, closed the shutters on his way in, and she was only able to find him by burning steel.
Bronze.
Bronze. That's right.
She could hear
Yeah.
the pulses, yeah.
Right.
But she want to give away she could do that.
Right, because she's like one of the few that can
Pierce
actually.
coach,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, what if he had scoped this whole thing out and set a trap for her? I'm like, you're not even thinking on that level. I mean, that he's like by himself. What do you just like with a cadre of like other misborns who are like, yeah, we'll take you out because he's working for the army outside the walls.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he definitely doesn't want to kill Vin, even though he claims he's an enemy, an insane one. But yeah. Vin didn't let him go. To Osir's dismay, he's not very happy about that. And Osir comes trotting up, and they talk for a little bit, and that's when he, offers her another way to help, carry her vials for her, and she's like, "Well, how are you gonna do that?" And he's like, "Check this out."
If they ever make a movie about this, I don't want to see that scene.
The skin muscle just pulls apart. He's like,
Pulls
put it
apart.
put it in there.
Put it in my meat sack. Yeah.
Kind of gross, but hey, it's
was
effective,
gross.
right? Great way to carry stuff and hide stuff.
Well,
I'm trying to picture the sound effects like from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
I like the obfuscation though, because they explain the fact that you can't pull a metal that's actually attached to somebody's skin, or if it's like attached to your body in some way where it's like metal and skin contact, like a ring or something. You can't just like pull it off of them or something.
Right. If it's on your belt, you could just throw it away. So yeah.
Right. If it's on or like the armor stuff. Like if it's just armor and it's just kind of like the outside. So I'm glad that was re-explained as to why that would not be something that another Alamancer could see. That they're just like vials, like in this like wolf hounds like skin and whatever.
Right.
So yeah. Good explanation though. I liked it.
Yeah. And he even says it doesn't really hurt him that much anyway. He's like, yeah, it doesn't quite work that way for us. It's kind of it's something we can do. It's gross, but we can do it.
Right.
And that's how we end this chapter. So any thoughts on all this besides what was already covered? Just weird watcher. We finally get to talk to him at least. We still know who he is, but at least we get to talk to him.
That and then the chase with Osir. It's like
yeah.
Vin had the realization like, oh well, this body he's in now is better. And maybe it can be helpful.
It's a great choice. I mean, and that Joker's big. His they said it comes. His shoulder is 3 feet off the ground. Right. That's a big.
It's like a Great Dane. It's a big dog.
Oh,
it's a big dog.
Cow. Yeah,
big dog.
You can almost ride that thing.
That's a huge bitch.
Yes, it is.
All right. Chapter 9. We're back in Sazed.
Another shorty.
A very short chapter again. Sazed and Marsh. They arrive at the conventicle of Saren, and they really were just kind of this whole chapter is them just kind of get into an argument about Marsh thinks that Sazed should be back in Luthadel helping out the kingdom, and Sazed's like, no, my job's more important here. And Marsh's like, it's not enough. Like you're one man. There's a gigantic amount of land to cover. Like it's just what you're doing. You can be a lot more effective. And to Marsh's point, you could be a lot more effective. In the kingdom, advising Elend and Vin than he could just going to random rural villages and teaching. And that's what Marsh's point is. But yeah.
I I felt like this is just Marsh being Marsh.
Okay.
I mean, it sounded more like Marsh this chapter than Marsh sounded the previous chapter 7.
Yeah.
So I felt like this is more like the way you hear Marsh kind of talking and the way he interacts and what have you. So I felt like we got a little of that humanity back. So
yeah,
my suspicions from chapter 7 were,
yeah,
assuaged by this chapter. But I'm still holding out that something may not be right with Marsh.
yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
They did allude to what's going to happen in Luthadel is something that like it's people aren't going to forget like his teachings that he's trying to do. So they alluded to like what's about to go down in Luthadel is going to be a huge deal. I did circle also. Marsh just says they're talking about something, and Marsh replies, "And your friends," and he's referring to Breeze and Docs and all those people
Right.
who, at one point you would have thought Marsh would say, "Those are my friends too, right? It's my brother's crew," but he says to Sazed, "And your friends." So like it's like he's going closer to that, Inquisitor side. Like he's not even considering that group his friends anymore. And it's almost like
I'll give counterpoint on that though, because
go for it.
Remember, Marsh really wasn't quite aligned with that group. He kind of had to come in almost. I want to say he was almost kind of coerced in by his brother.
He was for the rebellion, but he didn't find the rebellion for years. He just was not convinced with Kelsier's motives.
That's what it was. It was the motives. It's the way they accomplished the goals.
Right.
I felt like there was always like a little dissonance between the two of them back and forth. So that's the reason why it didn't put me off. Will, I think you still have a very valid point. I'm just saying that's the reason why I didn't like raise up any antennas for me. However, what did raise antennas for me though is what you just said. He was talking in a very prophetic way about Luthadel. And I was like, is that like something that comes with that Inquisitor process? Is there something going on where you can see things, or is he just talking about it because he's just so confident that things are unraveling exactly the way that he knows because he has big picture a perspective of things, whereas everybody else is like down here on in the grounding level. I didn't know that, and so I figured we just need to find out more about this Inquisitor process, which I assume is going to come up as Marsh continues to kind of pull back the curtain, because now there's just a lot of uncertainty about what an Inquisitor can do, because they are like this super super crazy being, and we just don't quite understand what they can do. Anyway,
this chapter
or how they get their powers.
Super short.
Yeah, it was super short. There's not much that happens here.
It's like, look, I had to rewind it because I was like, literally, I thought I had napped in the middle of a chapter. I was like, did I fall asleep in the chapter? And I went back and listened to it again, and I was like, man, I cannot believe I nodded off here. And I was like, no, I didn't nod off. It's that short. I was like, oh, okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember the. Brandon Jameson loves to do this kind of stuff. Let me see. I'm just trying to look up something.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know what chapter it is.
The dynamic between Caesar and Marsh. It's weird. It's got me a little like tense because it's like Marsh is bringing Caesar in to do something, and it doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right.
Yes, Will. Dude, Will, you're nailing it. You're nailing it, man. That's exactly what I feel too. It's like something's kind of off. I don't know what about it is off, but something just kind of feels a little askew.
And it feels like the lack of information like plays into that, and maybe it's purposeful. I'm sure it's purposeful.
Yeah.
So this is a Stormlight Archives, but there's a chapter, and this is how the chapter begins. And I love listening to the audiobook of it because it's hilarious. Because it starts with 111-825-1011-127-1249. It goes on for like 5-10 minutes. It's great.
I don't know if you guys ever watched Futurama. In Futurama, there's this thing where like Bender reads a certain series of like binary code, and then he can travel back in time, and they tattooed it on Fry's butt, and so he's like 110. That sounded like that for just a second when you said that out.
But yeah, there's a chapter that starts like for 5 minutes just numbers. It's like, what's going on here? It makes sense once we get there. It'll make a little more sense. Not really, but it makes you laugh. We listen to Michael Kramer read out numbers for 5 minutes straight.
I'm gonna plug another show real quick for all the people out there. If you have not watched the IT Crowd BBC show, thing's hilarious. But there's this one scene where they switch from using, I guess in England they use a 999 was their emergency number.
Okay.
But then they changed it to this long number. It's like 1-949-8903-33732-894-3129-7 or whatever it is. And I think it's hilarious that you just reminded me of that when you said that too. But anyway, just put my plug in for that.
That's their emergency code.
So that's their new emergency number. so a fire, they catch fire in the freaking like office. He's sitting there like 999-329. He's trying to type the whole number in again. So yeah, highly recommend it. Easily.
Yeah. There you go. Pites just said you won't be able to read past that point unless you know what those numbers mean.
Oh, really? Great.
We'll have to stop the podcast and no more reading once you get to that point until you figure out what it means.
Great. Let me get my numerology skills together.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, so ready for chapter 10?
Yeah.
Politics. We get some politics going now. I know you guys are political junkies, right? And love a political chapter.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'm being sarcastic. But so, actually, I love the politics in this book. But yeah, because I do enjoy a good politics scene. But yeah, this is the General Assembly. Vin and Hammond are guarding Ellen as they go to the assembly meeting where Ellen's prepared a speech about the army sieging Luthadel, and it pretty much just immediately goes to crap at first. I mean, it doesn't go over well. Like the whole assembly's like, no, we're not going to give you an extra power. Like just forfeit, let the army take over. We're done here. And Ellen's like, give us time, and he's like, yeah, no, we're good. But yeah, and then I guess of course one nobleman's the guy that stands up and is just like, it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily for Ellen, just kind of like understands Ellen's point. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. Gives us a better, rather, I guess for him, it's a better negotiating point, not necessarily that they're conceding to the inevitability. It's just that, rather than playing our cards right now, this lets us look a little harder to get. Maybe we can get a better negotiation out of it. So he's looking at more strategic, not really a fan of Ellen, and not trying to save the city by any means. Just trying to be like, okay, get as much out of this as I can. So
there was a lot of dissonance. A lot of people had different ideas, but then, like you said, I think it was Penrod stands up.
Penrod, yes, that's it. Yeah,
and you realize, okay, Ellen is, the king who has taken over, but Penrod, like, there are other forces of power, because as soon as Penrod stood up and started negotiating with Ellen, you realize now that they're getting ready to take this vote, the other people behind Penrod are like, right, okay, we'll follow this guy. So
what do you think about the structure of the General Assembly? So, I mean, it's made up of three groups. I mean, you have merchants, you have free nobles that are from the previous, and then ska representatives.
The ska.
Right.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird to me because you have the ska. By the way, remember, uneducated, unfamiliar with all these business workings, but they have.
But now they wear suits.
That's right. That's right. It's like dogs in suits now. So,
Yeah.
So there's that group. Then you got these merchants out here, which of course are like all your business people, which is basically like the equivalent of like your what is that, the Board of Commerce?
Yeah, Board of Commerce. Yeah. Chamber of Commerce, yeah.
Chamber of Commerce, thank you. And
Yeah.
they have no political affiliation whatsoever. All they care about is making that money, right? And then you have the noble people, is that third faction. And I'm like, the whole thing just sounds like a cluster all around to me. I'm just being honest. I mean,
yeah, it doesn't sound like the best way of forming a government. But at the same time, I mean, it definitely has those roots of like, when you try to form democracy, what do? I mean, you have to, if you look back to the British symbol, you have the House of Lords and the House of Commons. Like it's the, that dichotomy, and even America was, the House of Representatives and the Senate were supposed to be kind of mirroring the parliamentary system, but taken to different level of Britain, right? Because that's what they knew. But yeah, so. But I guess they're trying to do that here, where I guess the lobbyists have their own group too, being the merchants. So
right.
You have the common folk, you have the rich folk, and then you have the lobbyists, and they all have a voice and vote. And none of them agree with anything. The problem with that is, with a three-way system like that, is that I would just feel, this is what when I first read it, I feel like the Scott always get the short end of the stick on this deal, because the merchant, I just feel, would line up with the nobles more than they would with Ska. And maybe I'm wrong, because they just look at money, and where's the money still? The money hasn't been transferred. It's not like communism.
It only requires a 2/3 vote.
Yeah.
So that means basically, if you get all of the noble people and all of the merchants aligning on anything, they can always overpower and overwhelm anything the Ska want to do.
Right. Yeah. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Are we entirely sure that Vin didn't lob a sword at Ellen? Another Monty Pythons.
I love the fact that I'm not the only one on this Monty Python kick. Thank you.
That's no way to choose a king. Some
moistened bitch lobs a scimitar.
Sword you?
Love it.
The lady of the lake drew forth the sword and gave it to me, and gave me the authority under God to be your king. Some moist bitch threw a sword at you, and that makes you a king. That's no form of government.
True power is from the people. Hey, by the way,
there's a mandate from the people.
The movie came out in 1975.
Yeah.
Me and Monty Python, same age. Boom. Yeah. Facts.
Facts. There you go.
Yep.
Anyways, so yeah, so good meeting. After it's over with, they agree. He gets, they take the vote. The proposal is accepted. The assembly says that King Ellen can make official parlay with his dad.
Oh, and by the way, the whole time, Vin is like, she is like mad at everybody who's like opposing her boyfriend. She's like, how dare you go against my boy?
She should have been taking some tips from Breeze and been
soothing.
Yeah. But Ellen probably would not. Ellen probably would have frowned upon that, because he probably wanted to. He's a good boy. He wants to win it outright. He doesn't want that kind of stuff. Oh,
sure. And plus, she's even later on, she says how good he is at it, though. Breeze is so smooth with how he does it. Breeze, it's like he doesn't. You don't even realize.
Breeze is the man.
You don't understand what Breeze is doing until Breeze finishes doing Breeze things, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's on that other level.
So. Well, we're about to get to that. Next chapter. Good old Breeze. So Ellen comes, back to Vin after the assembly, breaks for lunch after he's passed, and goes talk to Vin for a little bit, and they're like, "Man, this is tough." Hammy makes a joke about it or something. This is for the birds, not for me. I'm a soldier. I don't want to be here.
Right.
This is brutal. and Ham goes to leave, and this is what switches to Ellen's point of view, where he goes and talks to Penrod. Pulls him aside. It's like, you did the right thing, and Penrod's like, I didn't do this for you. I'm all about giving this to your father. Like, it's just, it's like, I don't want to play with my cards right now. I just want to keep going. And during all this, that's when Vin comes up and it's like, I gotta talk to you. There's a terrorist woman in the back, and she didn't come talk to me first, so that's not right.
Yeah,
because all the terrorist people that come in, they always want to come see me. She didn't. Something's fishy. Like, did you guys?
It sounded like Vin saying she didn't come pay tribute, like a mafia movie or something. I was like, it
does kind of give those vibes a little bit, but I mean that's her justification for like why like she's suspicious,
right?
And did you think at any time this is like a threat, or did you think this is something about to go down right here? Or
I locked it in the brain vault, and then what happens next chapter makes me think back to this person. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
For right now.
Yeah. Well, Ellen's like, why would a terrorist woman try to kill me? They're terrorists. Like, what? And Vince's like, yeah, probably not. Just old habits.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so you locked it away for that. Any thoughts, Will, do you have about this terrorist woman in the back that's just kind of staring at Ellen the entire time?
Mm-hmm.
I was excited to see another terrorist person because like we don't see them a lot, right? Okay. And I was like, ooh, whether they're out to kill Ellen or they're just coming back into the mix of things, like, I'm hoping for that terrorist, force to come in and just do all the right things, like the treants. So yeah, no, I was hopeful that like they weren't out there to do anything bad, but they were there to kind of like watch this shift as Ellen is now in power and they have people trying to take the city. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and during all this commotion, this talk, a group of soldiers comes marching in straight up to the front. And it's like, we got a problem. It's like, what? Is Strafford assaulting? They're like, no, there's a second army marching in. And they're like, what? This can't be good.
Yeah, that's another shoe drop.
Lord second army? Like, it's not fun. That's not good news. Well, maybe. We'll find out later. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, at this moment though, you're like,
at this moment, it's like, yeah, great.
So what I thought initially is I was like, okay, so they're waiting for, Ellen's dad to come in, blah blah blah, and then these guys are gonna like pick like meat from the carcass afterwards, and just like whatever is left over, we'll kind of take as well.
Sure.
So yeah, it wasn't looking good. Looking good.
And we don't. And it ends the chapter with not knowing who this army is. Just another army's approaching. So another large army. So any final thoughts from this political scene? I know we kind of raced through a lot of it, but I mean, it was just, there's some meat in this chapter, but it's definitely all about the General Assembly and
yeah. Go ahead, Will.
Just display of the shit show that is around Ellen, like. He hasn't figured out how to lead. He's trying to do all the right things, and I feel like it's kind of backfiring.
He has a good heart. He's a good man.
Great heart.
Let's be real here. This whole setup right now is being run by kids. Now they're being consulted by adults, but they're being run by kids. Ellen is a kid. Vin is a kid.
Right.
I mean, so yeah, I didn't expect them to be like, masterminds of political-social.
Well, you still have docs and you have docs and clubs that are elder figures, and
again, but they're in advisory capacities, So
we don't know how old Osir is. He's a conjurer. He could be like thousands of years old.
I don't see him really providing like political advice. He's not going to be like. So my thoughts on the situation are woof woof,
woof woof woof. Yeah.
Woof woofy woof 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 woof.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys ready for the final chapter? Yeah, this one's fun. So they race out of the General Assembly up onto the walls. Much to their dismay, I guess at first, to see a rider leaving the army at full gallop, running for the walls. And at first, think a messenger, and then they see several other horses behind at a full chase. They're like, no, not a messenger. And Vin uses 10 to look a little closer. He's like, that's Breeze, and he's being hunted right now, and we need to do something now.
And this whole time, all I thought was you, Alan. That's all I thought was like, Alan's probably just like, well, what the heck's happened to my boy Breeze?
Breeze is at full gallop, running for his life, and there are people hunting him down. And Alan immediately says, get riders out there. And Vin realizes he's not going to make it. They're going to catch up. There's no way. They're going to cut him down before he makes it. There's no way he's going to make it in time. Yeah. And Vin just goes, I got this. And they're all like, there's no way. You can't make it that far.
Because Ellen's like, there's no way. I've seen you jump. There's no way you could jump that far.
That far. Yeah.
Yeah.
But little did they know she found something new. I mean, I can just imagine this on like the big screen or like small screen of the TV. Like just this scene.
Yeah. By the way, I feel like every time she burns this, is it Duralum? Duralum.
Yeah.
Every time she has used it, all I think of is the Superman line. It's like faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap a tall building in a single bound. That's all I think of the whole time. Because basically, right now, she's got the she's got the speed. She's got the jumping capabilities. I'm waiting for her to be stronger than like a locomotive. Now it's going to happen eventually.
Well, this kind of happens. I mean, this fight scene is epic.
Yeah. So she's crafty. By the way, this whole exchange that happens, she is crafty. I mean, she's on the fly. She's like adapting. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, so she goes over the wall. She burns Steel and Duralum and pushes off, and like a bullet just flies. I mean, I want to say it's like a mile away, like through the air.
I assume a mile, right?
Yeah, I assume like they're just like, holy shit. And then she just
somebody taking off like that. If you're just standing next to somebody, and they just boom and just take off like that, it would freak me out. I'd be like, oh, okay. You just move my wing back. All right.
Yeah. And she gets her trajectory. It was perfect. I mean, she lands right behind Breeze, in between her and the archers.
Yep, the chasers. Yep. Because they were knocked. They were getting ready to just like release
shoot. And she lands, and she downed a vial on the way to replenish herself. And as soon as like she lands, she pushes back in the steel arrows and
it shatters the shaft.
That's their flight.
And it hits him in the forehead. Look.
Yeah, shoots it right back in the forehead of the archer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she just like, I can just imagine her coming down almost like this meteor, like dust, like big boom, and dust cloud comes up around her, and she's just
superhero
like,
pose.
Fantastic.
That whole thing,
Yeah.
And by the way, she's disoriented because she's not used to leaping really high in the daytime. It throws her off because she can see the ground approaching.
Right.
So she says like disorienting to her, this happening in daytime. I was like, that's a cool. That's
I guess
a cool
if you can see the ground coming up fast below you, well, it's
yeah, you'd be freaked out too.
Yeah. I mean, if you know what it was, I mean, if you're a giant sperm whale that just happened to form in the middle of the atmosphere falling.
Yeah.
Sorry, my hitchhiker's reference there.
There you go. Hey, look, if I can drop Holy Grail references, you can drop Hitchhiker's reference.
Yeah. Suddenly a whale came into existence and started falling from the sky. It's like, oh, what's this? I'll call it wind.
This?
Oh, this is my tail. I'll call it a tail. Oh, what's that big thing coming? I'll call it ground. Splat. And his life was over.
And just like it was over.
Anyway, so she lands. They immediately ran their horses in and start knocking stone tip arrows because Yeah, they're not dumb. This is an army that's fought elementals before.
Right.
And she's like, not today, because she flares Duralim again with a steel push against their breastplate and the horses, the horseshoes and the every little bit of metal, and just flares it again. And it says the horses and people both alike. So entire horses were flown like leaves in the wind, like just.
And horses just screaming. The horses were screaming as they were
yeah.
just being thrown off. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has the audacity to just start running and keeping up with Breeze's horse.
and the horse looks over like,
what the
hell?
And the horse is getting upset. Like, it even writes, like Brandon Simpson wrote, the horse like seemed like it was getting upset. Like, why is she keeping up with me?
Well, how is a human keeping up with me? Wait, what? What in the black Jesus? What?
So, any thoughts? Will, any thoughts about the battle scene or anything like that? Or
just the way she blasted those horses back, it was like ants, man. It was like they're just gone, out of there. You say Duralium?
Duralium, yeah. Duralium.
Yeah.
It's an intense new discovery.
Especially used for fighting. If you have enough vials to use it. Of course, Vin with style, they get back to the gates and they're opening the gates for Breeze, and she goes ahead and just pushes over the wall and jumps over and lands, casually in the courtyard. And little flare style, little show off there.
Of course. Yeah.
And Breeze is like, thanks, sir, but says, at least you did it with style. That's a nice way of saving me. And we get Breeze back, which let me take a sip of my wine and let you guys talk about Breeze for a bit.
Sure, we can talk about Breeze. This guy comes in. By the way, they go through the gates. He's panting as hard as his horse, right? He's like, because he's not a very sprightly man, right?
No.
That's not his jam.
Right.
And then all he keeps wanting to do, he's like, "Can we please go upstairs to the freaking?" He's like, "I don't want to sit down here and talk. I want to go get some grub. I'm gonna go
get some wine.
Go get some wine." Whatever. He's like already switched back into like polite mode. He's like, I was almost killed, but now it's time for Breeze to be breezing things. And it's like the dude hands him his dueling cane and all this kind of stuff. He's like, hey, can we just get upstairs and get this feast on? I'm ready for my food, please. Yeah.
And they ask him, it's like, so you were part of Set, so they learned Set's army, which the assassins that were Set's men. I guess a scouting party that came out before. That Set's army, and they asked Breeze about it. It's like, so why are they here? He goes, well, because I brought them here. You did what? He's like, duh. Like, why wouldn't I bring them here? Like, of course I'm gonna bring them here. And they're so confused by all that. So like, why would you do something so stupid? He's like, stupid? This is brilliant. And like Ham starts to get it. He's just like, my God, man, you are smart as shit. I mean, because he makes a good point. He's like, when you're negotiating, adding a third party in just throws everything in a loop now. Because now we're in a full standoff.
Yeah.
Because if one invades, their forces will be too weak to fight off the other one from coming in behind them. So no one's going to invade now in fear of the other one taking them out, which gives them.
Because the other army will be a cleanup crew, right? It was like, okay, we'll just wipe out everything that's left after the first two fight, right?
And Vince pissed. He's like, how'd you get him to come so fast, guys? He goes, I spread some rumors about ATM. He's like, it was you. You were spreading the rumors. He goes, of course I was.
Yeah.
Breeze. So how'd they turn against you? And goes, they ask us, like, so you're sleeping with Seth's daughter, weren't you? It's like,
Breeze is like, I ain't that kind of guy. Come on now. Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about this whole idea that Breeze had, though? I mean, I think it's brilliant. And once you learn where Breeze was thinking, his thought process, I mean, it was pretty smart.
When you hear it all laid out, it makes sense.
Right.
At the time, he said, "Oh yeah, I brought the other army." And I was like, "Did he bring the other army to fight, or the
Full
other
forward.
army. I didn't understand what was going on there, and
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, when it was explained, I was like, okay, I
Well,
get it now.
I think they even asked, like, did you bring him to join us? He goes, oh, of course not. No,
Of course
no,
not.
of course
No,
not. No, I can't do that. Like,
no.
still would kill us. Like,
Right.
But at least now Straff can't do anything.
No.
The obvious hope is that Strath and the Set army fight and deplete each other enough
right,
to where the Luthadel army can handle everything. So
right. I mean, that would be the
Either
best
way.
case scenario. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's really smart to have another army there to mix things up, right? Because it's 1-on-1, one's underpowered, it's just game over. So
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And as Breeze points out, he says, the weakest party is now going to have the strongest negotiating cards because whoever I throw my lot in with, like, we're going to be able to overpower the other one. So now we have a better negotiating platform. Trying to negotiate with a larger army, you have no negotiation. Like, you have no foot to stand on to negotiate. Like,
Right.
we're just going to destroy you. There's no negotiation. It's just give us everything and that's it.
Right.
But now that
Please don't obliterate us. That's basically.
But
your
now if he could
negotiation.
throw his lot in with one of these two,
Mhm.
the other, not that they're going to, but the I guess the perception that they would gives them a higher leg to negotiate now.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, so any thoughts of all this before?
How they threw in like, yeah, we would have been there sooner, but I think there was a bad case of diarrhea that went around the whole crew.
Oh man! Oh, geez.
You had to put that in there.
Yep. Caused by our boy Spook.
Spook. Yeah, he looks over at Spook and he's like,
He's like, are you still a dumb nuisance? Yes.
fun
He
times.
says, wasn't with the nothing.
Wasn't with the nothing. Of course. So yeah, and then we get to the final scene where you get the big dun ending to part one, which is
Look at the bones.
Look at the bones. And the first set of bones, they're like, well, yeah, we know about those bones. And Vin doesn't say anything about it. He's like, yeah, we know about
them
those bones.
Them bones? Yeah.
Those bones are fine. He goes, well, what about the other set?
What about those bones?
What other set? And Orsur's like, those aren't mine, which means there's a second Conjure in the mix.
Right.
And it could be anyone.
Yeah, but it has to be somebody. So now we're getting into Clue's situation where it's like, who wasn't around the last couple hours and could have, blah blah blah, and eaten the bones and blah blah blah, because those are the bones of the previous form. So it's like, well, now but they're also
switched.
Yeah. So someone's been killed and been consumed. And now someone is the new bag of antlers, and that's a shame because we don't know anything about who it is. Now, I keep going back to the lady, the Thing. Yes, that's a good reference. I keep going back to the terrorist lady. I'm like, well, that's the obvious choice, right? But I'm like, but if she wasn't seen, because I wrote a note to myself as this was all going down. And then I refuted my own note, and I was like, "Oh, another Conjure is a terrorist woman." I was like, "No, she wasn't seen before that scene.
Right?
It doesn't make any sense."
Then goes to immediately has to be a crew member. Like it has to be one of her crew. Because who else would you pick? Like it'd be like it would have to be a crew member because that way you would be able to infiltrate completely. And
because they can impersonate almost flawlessly.
Anyway.
Whoever they take over.
Yeah, they even said, Lord Renew, like even his best friends didn't even know it wasn't him anymore.
Didn't know it was him. Yeah.
They personate down to personality, the way you speak, your mannerisms, everything.
Yep.
So could be literally anyone. could be a Contra and is not on their side. Maybe not. I don't know,
but now we got to think about, what's the agenda? Is the agenda to kill, which We don't know.
Even if it's just to
agenda
collect information, like now you have to be so guarded about everything.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and you've now created a huge trust chasm
Sure.
amongst
I
your
mean,
government.
the idea of just a conjurer just being there just to sow discourse, that alone could be disruptive to everything. So yeah, it who knows what the purpose is there.
Yes, but thank you, Pythos. If this really was Monty Python, it would be Brandon Sanderson's balance. Now Contra is actually writing this book. It's not actually Brandon Sanderson's
Oh,
book.
okay, yeah, I like the concept.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's not even a Brandon Sanderson book anymore. Fooled you guys.
That went real meta real fast. Nice. I like it though. I like it.
So, and that's how we end part one. Is the big starting up a clue. We're gonna be doing a clue thing in this whole book, probably, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's all I'm thinking of. I'm like, what's the weapon? In which room?
Mr. Mustard, with the candlestick.
Yeah. Is it Colonel Mustard?
Colonel Mustard. Yeah, Colonel Mustard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the Beatles song, "Me, Mr. Mustard." There you go.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very good. Very good.
Anyway, so yeah, that's how we end this section. So, final thoughts on all of this.
So first of all, Pythos, that's true. There was a Deadpool comic book where he did try to kill all the Marvel writers and artists, and of course, then there was the one where he actually killed the entire Marvel universe as well. So yeah, Deadpool does Deadpool things.
Yeah.
So generally, Marsh and Sage, that whole thing, man. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling positive about your boy Sazed, man, right now. I'm just.
It's a weird place.
He's in a
very strange place.
Yeah. It's almost like I feel like when you see these movies, like someone's getting bit by the zombie virus, and you're like, I'm fine, and then you start turning, and then they turn on you. I feel like that's what's happening with Sazed and Marsh. I feel like Marsh is going to be like, I'm going to turn on him, that kind of thing. And I'm like, it's unfortunate for Sazed. I hope that doesn't happen.
I will say the next chapter is a Sazed chapter, and it is more than 2 pages. It's actually quite a few pages. So it's
good deal. Okay.
So you'll get some more Sazed.
You get some Sazed action. Okay. Gotcha. Good.
Yeah. Thoughts on these chapters? Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of build up.
It's part 1. We got a lot of book left.
Yeah, a lot of build up. I don't know, it wasn't a whole lot of profound, but it's developing. Right?
Sure.
Ben and Osor, they're kind of becoming a stronger alliance, and then you have Ellen, and he's not fit for the role he's in right now.
He's not ready.
Whole team, Sazed needs to come back. I'm worried about Sazed.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, you're on the brink of war. There's a lot of uncertainties. I feel like there's a lot of just chaos going on. Not chaos, just people are freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring up a great point, though. I mean, I still feel like Sazed has thousands of years of history in that noggin of his, which means he also knows tactical things. He has all this knowledge, and he's not there. And that, to me, I feel like is a huge problem, a void that they have right now. Him not being there, I think, is a big deal. I know it's good storytelling because it's one of the things that you always do if you want to tell a great story is if you have a group of people, do everything you can to keep them apart as long as possible to keep that suspense there. But man, Sazed not being there, that's a problem to me.
Yeah. Indeed. Well, any other thoughts about where we're going to be coming up to, or any thoughts from these chapters besides Says?
Well, my favorite character is still Clubs. I still like Clubs.
Okay.
Clubs is just
Club's
every
still
time he
there.
steps up. Every time he steps up, I'm like, hey, he's just old and cadre little dude. I'm like, I like
that was
him.
my next question. Was your favorite character? So it's still Clubs.
Yeah.
All right.
Still Clubs, yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the Condra this round.
Contra. Okay,
Oh, that's a good call. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Or Sears, he's
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah,
He's abiding by the Condra contract, but I mean, he's proven to be more valuable these days. So
I wrote a bunch of notes about that, about the contract. This contract. I put air quotes around it. I'm like, how is he getting paid? A-Team's involved somewhere or another. What's going on with this? Blah, 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 blah. I got a lot of questions about this contract.
Sure.
So I want to hear more about this. I feel like there's going to be more about this later on.
Yeah. Well, next time, I guess I can do my favorite character. My favorite character. Who is my favorite character this episode?
Come on, say Breeze and just stop. Stop with the suspense. Stop with the suspense. Come on now.
My boy Breeze with my Dory cane. Should I say sip my wine?
There it is. I mean,
It's
this
Breeze.
guy came in. He came in almost getting assassinated and still had swagger. Come on now. You're gonna give it to Breeze.
At least you saved me with style, I think was his line.
Yep.
It's just which is what Breeze would want. At least do it with style. But yeah, good times. So next week we'll begin part 2, which is Ghost in the Mists. Ghost in the Mists. And we're doing 3 chapters. So 12, 13, and 14.
Okay.
3 chapters next week.
Good deal.
Yeah. So not a ton of chapters like we did this time, but they're normal size chapters again. So back to that. And yeah, so how we can be found is the cosmereads.com. That's our website. Go there, visit it, find links to social media. We do have Facebook now with 0 followers because I just made it and I have not announced it yet. So here's me announcing it. We have a Facebook. So go follow us on Facebook. The Cosme Reads. Go search for it. I did post something the other day saying like, "Hey, here's me screaming to the void because no one follows us yet." Hey, I'm here. So yeah, follow us on Facebook. Also on Twitter, our X going to give it to you, whatever you want to call it. You can also, I do post on the other social medias as well about Cosmere, even if it's the Will Reads. A lot of times I don't have, Cosmere Reads doesn't have his own Instagram. The Will Reads does, but that's just me sharing memes that have nothing to do with the Will Reads or the Cosmere Reads. If you want to follow that, that's just where I meme dump things because I don't know how else to use Instagram. That's just how I do things. So it's just a meme dump. And then we're also, the Will Reads is also on Threads and Blue Sky. Yeah, we're on Blue Sky, the exclusive social media platform. Thank you, Pythos, for sending me a link to that. So you have to get invite when Pythos invited me. So yeah, we're on there too. So if you happen to be exclusive and on Blue Sky, we're on there as well. And I do share stuff about the Cosmere Reads and what's going on both of those under the Will Reads. So just because they don't allow for multiple, they do allow for multiple profiles, but they don't allow for easy switching, which is annoying. And if you don't have easy switching, I'm not going to do it. Because that's like if I can't click a button and switch between profiles, I'm not going to log out and log back in. It's too much. So
that's drama.
It's too much. I'm trying to fast when I'm putting information out. I'm like mass sharing stuff to different platforms, and I'm not doing that. So follow us on all the different places. Go to our website; it has links to a lot of things. Our Discord server. Go follow us there. Check out our merchandise. New stuff is coming. We have to finalize that Scott Stink shirt and hopefully some more shirts to come. And we'll continue on. And also Patreon. Forgot to mention that. We do have Patreon. So yeah, check that out because that would be awesome because we have a lot of cool tiers and we get some live readings and things like that if we get some members. So go join. And with that, that's all I got for this week. So until next time, guys.
Scott Stink.